Good evening, everyone. I'm calling to order the regular city council meeting for the city of Hayden, Idaho. It's Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. It is 5 p.m. May we get a roll call of council members, please?
Council President Roeder?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes. Tom, would you like to lead us again? Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I am not aware of any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight, so we'll roll right into the consent calendar, which consists of approving the August 29th, 2025 special city council meeting minutes, approval of the September 9th, 2025 city council meeting minutes, approval of PZE 250055 with Atlas Industrial Subdivision Master Development Agreement, approval of MDM Construction Group change order number 8 for Ramsey Road Gravity Sewer Project completion adjustments, approval of engineering services agreement with Welsh Comer and Associates for Hayden Atlas intersection widening design, approval of change order number 9 with Big Sky Corporation for added monument castings for H6 Force Main project, ratification of bills paid, and approval of bills for payment. Are there any questions on the consent calendar?
Mr. Mayor, I got one question.
Fire away.
So, Lisa, I apologize.
Let's see how quick I can be on my feet.
It's so nitpicky, it doesn't really matter on my vote, but I noticed in the bills for payment, there's $140 going to the Kootenai County for inmate housing, and my only thought was, shouldn't that be covered under the Justice Fund, and why are we paying?
So there is a statute within Idaho code that says that any inmate housed for a violation of city code can, the county can bill for that, and so they are starting to do that now. So these are not violations other than of city code, and most of them are disorderly conduct.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I'd like to make a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Can we get a roll call, please?
Council President Roeder?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yep.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Abby, do we have any visitor public comments tonight?
No.
Okay, we're gonna roll into commission report, and we have Judy this evening from the Historic Preservation. Welcome, Judy.
Hi. Look it over here. I don't think I can see over the top of that. Hi, my name is Judy Eichelberger. I reside at 7037 East Hayden Haven Road in Hayden, Idaho, and I am the current chair of the Historic Preservation Commission. So, I'm coming with my quarterly report. I have just 4 points to talk to you about since the last time I've seen you. First one would be our commission's involvement in demolition permits. In May, a line item and a checkbox were added to the city's demolition permit for structures that are 50 years or older. And if someone picks up a demolition permit and they check that, that allows commission members to visit the site to assess whether the structure or items within it might be of historical significance. So we got our first call for a demolition of a carport at 142 East Hayden Avenue. That's just after the corner at Government Way. The structure was not at all significant in any way, except maybe for the shortcuts that had been taken when it was built. But we had a pleasant conversation with the workmen that were on the site and with the developer's representative that I spoke with on the phone. It's not the intent of our commission to delay the process at all or infringe on the rights of others. Our goal in this is to gather information on a structure's history. And in some cases, I think we find that we will provide information or historical content to the owners. And we want to build an understanding of Hayden's story. Most of us know that architecturally, our story may not be cohesive, but it's always interesting. And the past can be a source of inspiration for future designs that reflect our community's evolving personality. And if you're attuned to such thing, demolition ordinances have been in the news lately. Both Coeur d'Alene and the city of Spokane have revised their ordinances, and Spokane's gone a long way down the road that they're, any building of significance, they are removing things like doorknobs and windows, and they want the people within that neighborhood to recycle those. So we're current. Okay, secondly, the interpretive signage out at Stoddard. You're probably aware that we've been working on plans for an interpretive sign for some time. We've secured grant money from the Farm Credit Services to help us defray costs. But this summer, Eagle Scout candidate Ryan Drapo approached us with a plan to construct the wooden framework, complete with the roof and the supports on which the sign that we have about the interpretive sign it would be placed. He submitted his drawings to us and to Parks Department and to his Scouting Supervisory Board, and we are completing the layout for the verbiage and the photos that will complete the project. He hopes to complete his project, part of the project, before the weather sets in. In addition, we're developing the first of what we hope will be a series of signs aimed more towards pedestrians. Our plan is a small sign, either 9 by 9 or 12 by 12, a metal cutout of an apple. And it will be placed near the corner of Miles and Ramsey Road, where one of the last significant apple orchards in town once stood. So our idea is that those signs will have QR codes on them, and when they're scanned, it would direct the reader to a brief history of that location. And in this case, the one on Ramsey, it could provide a general historical information on the topic of orchards, which were very popular in this part of the world for quite a long time. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, our book, Ordinary People, Extraordinary Lives, A History of Hayden, Idaho, is mostly at the printer. And thanks to some donations, the book's finances are in good shape as well. Do they have a copy of? They do. Okay, so one question that we had touched on quite a while ago, but now that we're getting so close, we do want to be sure that our disclaimer comment is strong enough. So I would just point you towards that. It's really kind of 3 paragraphs long, but the last paragraph I think is probably our disclaimer part. I'll read that part. It says, "We recognize that typographical and factual errors are bound to occur. The commissioners and their editors have done their best to corroborate recollections with facts. Our first concern, of course, has been to do justice to the family histories and to injure no one. We regret any errors, request you accept our apologies, and welcome input that could set the record straight." So we want to be sure that you know what we're sending out there. And I will say, we will get a draft copy of the book that we will want some of you to look over before we go to final press on that. Okay, and finally, by mutual agreement, Historic Commission is going to meet with Arts Commission. When we sit down to visit, we see that we have a lot of things going on that sort of intermingle. For instance, the benches that the Arts Commission is working on, some of them, they want information about the locations where they are, and that blends right in with our history of the area and what they're about. So we're looking forward to meeting with them probably next month. Okay, any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.
Is that a 9 foot by 9 foot?
No.
Okay.
9 inch by this, at a height where somebody's walking along the sidewalk, they would see it. They can
Just
take their
scan it.
phone, scan
Okay.
it, and then we can keep refreshing the information too, if we want to make changes and that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I have one question. This is kind of represents a personal interest I have, that a lot of these old structures that I see, like some of these aging barns, oftentimes they were constructed with old growth timber. And I don't know if there's a strong appeal for that here in Idaho, but
I could imagine that there are at least some woodworkers that would salvage that kind of wood and reuse it. So when you talked about recycling stuff, have you thought about trying to connect with people like that that might be interested in that lumber before a structure is
You know,
demolished?
there is a sort of a division of historical barns in Idaho. It's not really putting them on a register, but there is a collection, if you will, of barns, and some barns can be put on the register. So I know there are barns that are, you know, too far one way that are probably not going to last long, and it would be up to the owner, but wouldn't that be a great suggestion for us to give to them? So, no, we haven't dealt with that at all, but that's a really good suggestion.
Okay, and it's not just barns, it could be houses too.
Very true, very true. You see some of the things that come out.
And we have a business on Miles that specializes in selling
Yes.
hardwoods and
Yeah,
woods that are more,
unique woods, I think.
Distress?
better than Home Depot woods.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Seasoned.
Seasoned.
Seasoned, yes, good
All
idea.
right. Any
Okay,
other questions for Judy?
I have a comment, not a question. A lot of you probably don't know that there's a lady named Judy King that has an incredible voice, and she sang at my wedding. This Judy, that was her maiden name. So that was,
a lot of years ago,
yes,
Wow.
yeah.
and no encore will be coming.
Judy, anniversary?
Thanks, Judy.
All right, we're gonna move into new business. Our first item for council is to consider approval of the fiscal year 2026 salary schedule. This was put on the agenda because it's a prudent piece of information the auditors like to look for. The council has already approved the budget for fiscal year 2026, but again, this is just a little more detail. So is there any questions for Sean, or would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the 5% increase to salary schedule for fiscal year 2026.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion on the motion being made? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember DePreez,
Yes.
Council President Roder.
Yes.
Move on to the next item. Which is consider recommendation by Development Impact Fee Advisory Committee to increase development impact fees and update impact fee methodology report. I believe council's already been briefed on all the outcomes from the advisory committee, and this is just simply the recommendation approval step.
So, Ms. Mayor, just to clarify, what you would be doing is authorizing staff to publish the public hearing so that we could increase the fees after that public hearing would be held.
Thank you. Any questions for Lisa? Anyone want to make a motion?
Sure. I would move to consider recommendation by Development Impact Fee Advisory Committee to increase development impact fees and update impact fee methodology report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion being made? May I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Council President Roder,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember DePreez.
Yes.
We'll keep the ball rolling here. Our next item is the resolution to adopt a 5-year capital improvement plan. For the public, the city updates its 5-year capital improvement plan every year to align with budget adoption.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I could just interject and let council know, it's a slightly different look this year. We went from one big, long Excel spreadsheet with all the plans on there that incorporated the parks, the transportation plans, the transportation projects, excuse me, and the sewer projects, and now giving them their own respective Excel spreadsheets, so we're not as busy. And I think it's easier for you to track. So when we think about those three things, it's just, I think, an easier, more concise way of getting out in front of you and as well as the public our plans. And then this will help align our project planning with hopefully, if there's impact fee dollars or general fund dollars you want to appropriate towards those we can.
Is this format going to be on the website? I think this is much better, more concise. You can
Yeah, I think that's
really
our hope
appreciate a
is,
breakdown. So is it available for the people?
it will be if you guys adopt it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes. I know that we've discussed this probably ad nauseum with all the budget workshops we've had, but I can't remember the answer to my question. So with regards to federal aid and grants, why are there 3 line items for, under, forget what, the second spreadsheet for the, it looks like it's all related to honeysuckle and then none anywhere else. I realize that we basically have to be shovel ready in order to get grants from state and feds, but why are they already there?
The anticipation would be that if we are going to apply for a grant, that at least it's showing that those funds wouldn't come from any other place other than potential federal aid or grant dollars.
Okay.
So if we can't get those, then that project gets pushed. That's why they get pushed each year.
All right.
And I'll lean on Public Works if there's any more details they'd like to add. That's how I understand it.
There's a suggested motion in the memo. Someone would like to make one?
Can I make a comment first? This is something that I think we don't talk about enough. I know I bring it up a lot because I think it's very, very important. And if we look at the bottom line here on these type of things, we're looking at, again, 38 million here, 7 million here, 12 million here. So do the math and we're into the 50, 60 million dollars in the next 5 years. And I think and again, I mentioned it being on the website, if anything, those who might be watching, those who are here, this needs to be emphasized throughout the community to look at this and think about it, because it's going to, in my opinion, be a very important factor in the next couple of years.
Thanks, sir. Someone want to make a motion?
Sure.
All right.
I'd move, oh, wait a minute, it's in here somewhere.
Get to the memo.
I recommend the adoption of resolution setting forth the 5-year capital planning for fiscal year 2026, fiscal year 2030.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember DePreez?
Yep.
Okay, our next item is the National Opioid Settlement, Purdue District and Secondary Manufacturers Settlement Participation. I believe we see this once a year. And so this is a very small share of funds. We direct it to Panhandle Health District for opioid abatement. And Councilmember, I have a question about this action item. Anyone want to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to approve participating in the Purdue Direct Settlement for the National Opioid Settlement.
Okay, is there a second?
Mayor, for clarification, Councilmember White, there are 2 separate settlements. It's the
Okay.
Purdue Direct and Secondary Manufacturers. Did your motion
Okay.
include both of those?
Yes, it did.
And we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember DePreez?
Yep.
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
And Councilmember White?
Yes.
Next item is an agreement with Thorco Electrical Construction for replacement of government waste streetlights. And this is for the public's consumption, being done primarily as a safety issue. Secondarily, when we have streetlights that go out, we do collect insurance money. And third, the government out here is part of an LID, so businesses are taking into it, and the city is stepping up and replacing some of the downed streetlights.
Mr. Mayor, if I could interject really, because I think it's important for council to understand, there's 14 lights right now that need to be repaired. Those are 14 lights that have either been damaged or completely taken out. And I've asked the staff, because it is costly from the time that that happened to now, to replace those, to just prioritize for you tonight those critical areas that light crossings. And so the thought is that we would come back later for the remainder of those 14, which I think, whatever that difference is. And we would bring that for your consideration, so.
Anybody have any questions for Lisa or Alan or Ty?
Just to be clear then, so the 6 lights addressed in this motion, that total repair cost is 95,000.
Correct, and we received some are 67-ish thousand and
60, almost 65,000.
yeah, 65,000 in insurance. We've invested some of those to probably secure the open connections for those particular lights, but we've been sitting on that money. It's important that we go ahead and finish this project and get those sidewalks lit adequately, especially as we hit into the darker season.
So am I to, I guess, assume here that these lights are knocked out in collision
Some of them,
vehicles?
yeah.
And is vehicles running off the road that are colliding with these posts, light posts I'm envisioning?
It's a mixture of people pulling out of driveways and not being light posts driving over, or we've actually had some high-speed incidences that actually ran down the center of the road to get around cars and holes in the way. So it's a mixture of,
Yeah,
but it is virtually all related to vehicle contact.
wow, okay.
Anybody else flash back to the George of the Jungle song? Watch out for that light post. All right, any other questions, or would someone like to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion. I move that we approve and authorize the mayor to contract with Thorne Electrical Construction to replace the 6 damaged lights on Government Way in an amount not to exceed $95,502.
Do we have a second on that?
Second?
All right, any discussion on the agenda, or on the motion being made? May I get a roll call, vote, please?
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember DeCree?
Yes.
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Our last action item tonight is to consider proposed changes to the FARB's cost allocation for certain services. This will provide our representative to the Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board some guidance that affects our city's proportional share of HARB operation and maintenance costs.
So, in the last meeting, we went to the meeting, there was a recommendation to adopt an addendum to keep it moving forward with the budget process at Parks. And then after his council's last meeting, Parks' attorney did a memo regarding the JPA requirements that was requested by the district, sewer district. And in that, he gave 3 recommendations, possible recommendations that the board could take. The one member of the board has landed on option 2, which is in the letter from them. And of course, that is most impactful for the city, and all this happened after we'd set our budget and our fees. It's not a huge amount of money. It's it's an impact of $12.20 per year, so $900 a month. But as I understand it, and Matt could probably attest to, his position was that he didn't want to commit that without the rest of the council understanding that change. Is that fair, Matt?
Correct, yeah. Out of the 3 options, I'll just elaborate a little bit. I was totally opposed to option 2 because it was all in the favor of the district. And option 1, and option 1 is more to our benefit, if you will. Option 3 was a blend of 1 and 2 to kind of get this thing settled. And the district was opposed to option 1 and 3. And so that's why I wanted to bring this back to the council, because you get to give me direction on how you want to vote on this, because potentially, if we're going to increase our cost to HARBs, that means that we would have to increase our budget. And that means that we would either have to, we have to take money from one allocated budget line item to pay for that $11,000 a year, or else we'd have to open up our budget to reflect what the district wants. And that's really what I need to know what the council wants to do.
We don't have to open our budget up.
Okay,
Our rate increases that we took this year both encompass the cost increases that Harbs was passing along to us, but also our distribution costs. It just would come, we take it in as one fee. It's not broken out into the two future enterprise funds, so we'll be able to cover it, but we would probably have to make it back up next year.
Matt, thank you for bringing this to council and not just shooting from the hip. We appreciate that.
well, we have, although this is just ongoing with how we've had to deal with the district, and it's small amounts of money that we're held hostage. And I think it's important that the council see what we're dealing with on an ongoing basis with them. And that's why it's important to hear it, see it.
Yeah, so I have a question for Councilman Roeder. I know that we've discussed this in previous meetings, but just for the sake of argument, hypothetically, if this council were to say, we just want to go with option 3, what would be the result of that?
Well, my understanding is they would say, we're not going to approve the budget, the Harbs budget.
And that requires unanimous.
And you have to have a unanimous vote to approve your budget. And that's what they've been doing all along, is they've been holding us hostage. If they don't get their way, they won't vote for the budget. So that's a huge thing hanging over our head, because Ed asked the question during one of the meetings, well, what if the budget doesn't get approved? And there are a lot of consequences that could happen. And we don't have an option. You have a utility that has to operate. We can't be put in hostage all the time, wondering if we're going to be able to function because we have one board member that is holding the whole thing up under the threat of, we're not going to approve the budget, and so therefore, you're in theory, but I know that somehow you're going to have to work it out. You can't shut a sewer plant down. It has to operate, period.
Okay, let me follow on with that though. So there's really two outcomes of this. One is that the budget isn't passed. And the second one is that we have to achieve a resolution at some point. That's just a given. And that would be through legal means, right? And if it's through legal means, are we talking an exorbitant amount of cost to get to that point?
Well, I think that right now, the district is saying, we'll go into mediation with you over, because really what will resolve this is a dissolution agreement and how the plant will operate and how the district will relate to Harbs. And so we can either mediate and come to an agreement, but I'm having a hard time seeing where that's going to happen. That's my personal feeling, because we have a land issue that's still of concern. But as I said before, we've been dealing with this for like 1.5 to 2 years, trying to get this thing settled. And it's costing us between $100,000 to $200,000, we the city. And I said, okay, if there's a point in time where we got to say, let's push this thing and get it done. And what I mean by that is, we file suit, which is part of the process. We have that right. And then have a judge put a timeline in saying, this is your discovery, you got to go into mediation, here are your court dates, and move this thing along. But until that happens, we get this district putting all these obstacles in our way, trying to mediate or trying to work these deals out. Now, we have attorneys on both sides working on it. We have Danielle, who is working on the financial side, and then Matt in Seattle is trying to put the joint powers agreement, or the agreement that's going to work, not joint powers agreement, but the agreement and how this whole thing will work with the two other entities. So it's complex, it's very costly. I want to put an end to it.
And just for the record, it's Tommy and he's in Portland.
Not Matt in Seattle.
That was close.
Miles different.
Where did
just
I
wanna
get
make sure
Matt?
everybody asks, so we get the right person.
We don't have a Matt in Seattle.
Oh, maybe we should. So,
Add just a little more context
Matt.
to that as well as, so the issue here is really a shared, how we share the cost of operating the system. The JPA, which is the Joint Powers Agreement, which is what defines how it's supposed to be done, says it's supposed to be done in this manner. It hasn't been done in that manner. That's what this letter reiterates. And so in moving into either one of these three options, we are going to end up in the same place. It's just a matter of time. The hard part for this was we're at the end of the budget cycle and nobody had a chance to review this, whereas option one and option three would have allowed Matt to talk to the council while we were going through the process of moving. Option two forces it to happen now. And so I think in the end, we're going to end up in the same spot. And the cost can be absorbed. So I think that making sure that the staff over at Harps is taken care of and we don't have a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress for them, what's going on as well. I don't think there's a big downfall to getting there. It's just the difficulty of having something changed at the last minute and not having Matt not having an opportunity to bring it to the council and share it. So that's kind of why we're here.
Do we need a motion for this agenda item or just verbal guidance to Matt? Asking Lisa or Fonda, please.
It's listed as an action item, so you can take that. You can do probably either or.
Either or.
I would take a vote.
Go ahead.
I'll make a comment here before making a motion. What Alan and Matt have both described, and I sit in on these meetings, this last minute, wait till the last minute at the end of the budget cycle seems to be a real common negotiation ploy in several instances these days. So I will move to a motion to consider the proposed changes to Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board cost to approve, I guess, the consideration. Proposed changes to the Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board HARBS cost allocation for certain services.
Is that a good,
Per option two.
Per option two.
okay, for option two?
and so for clarification, that's the Hayden Sewer District's choice, option two. It's their way that they want it, so that we know that we're going to have to acquiesce to that to make sure that we keep moving forward with what we're supposed to do. I hopefully I'm saying that the right way, but that's kind of how I'm seeing it.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Mayor, with the comment that the reason I brought up that line of questioning is to point out that we either accept a little pain up front versus a lot of unknown pain in the long term.
Understand. Okay, any discussion on the motion being made? Maybe a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Council President Roder,
Yes,
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeFreeze.
Next item, I believe, Alan is going to give us a review of the 2025 Public Works and Streets Maintenance Projects. I want to thank staff specifically. I'd asked for this last meeting, but to happen in the spring. And so staff instead jumped on it and said, hey, we'll do better than that. We'll get one going for 2025. So thank you, staff.
Thank you. Staff had been kind of working on this and last council meeting, Councilman, yes,
Schaefer?
Schaefer kind of requested, and I said, yes, we're ready. We're going to do this, and we're going to provide you with an update, and I think the timing is wonderful. We've been talking about 5-year planning here. It's a move that we've been really trying to increase so that there's more direction for everybody and they understand where we're going. But what I'm going to talk about here in this presentation is the chip seal and maintenance of our roads. Chip seal is probably the #1 maintenance item we use. It's probably one of the better cost-effective if the roads are in a given certain condition. So City of Hayden's responsible for about 180 lane miles of roadway with additional roads being added annually. proper maintenance road to maximize longevity is a high value investment. Just for everybody to know, our road inventory is probably our biggest asset that we maintain. And it has the biggest impact for the community at large, including the region at large. So it's important. It's an important asset. I'll see if I can get that without saying something I didn't mean to.
Is it technically a liability if we got to keep putting money into it?
Well, yeah, maybe. So what is chip sealing? Chip sealing is the process of applying a layer of liquid asphalt and aggregate stone, which are called chips, which are added to protect the surface layer and extend the useful life of the road below. Hot mix asphalt's a unique product. It's made out of stone and asphalt. We try to maximize the amount of stone and minimize the amount of oil. And that gives you the strongest section for loading, right? But what that does is it leaves voids and it leaves the asphalt susceptible to oxidation. So when you chip seal it, you seal that surface, you protect it from oxidation. You also protect it from moisture and freezing and thawing, and it provides a huge benefit over time that you don't get with the asphalt. The asphalt provides the structural. This provides a surface seal and protection for it. Once it's applied, we provide a fog layer over for added seal protection of chips. It also provides, on the roads that are striped, it provides better
Reflection?
It's contrast between the road stripes and the roadway surface. The typical life of a chip seal, it's 7 to 10 years. On some of our really high volume roads, it might be as low as 5. So we try to, the deal is to try and get a cycle that covers that, so that every 7 to 10 years, we get every road resurfaced. So in 2025, which was this year, we did 13.37 lane miles of road in Hayden. We're building a long 5-year plan to try to get 18 to 22 lane miles of road each year. That's the number that we need to hit that 7 to 10 year cycle. So in that case, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 lane miles short last year.
Alan, what's the approximate in today's dollars?
Well, I'm going to get to that for you.
All right, I'll wait. Thanks.
Okay. So, road maintenance priorities, in that plan, we try to prioritize local arterial collectors and geographically adjacent local roads. That's the connection to these roads. The neighborhood local roads are in the last cycle. They're the ones that will easily take a 10-year cycle. And again, the arterials might be even less than 7. But we try to mobilize in a general area. So it isn't just going priority to the highest use, because when we bring in a team to do that, we want to try to geographically keep it in one area. We don't want to be doing a road here, moving them across the city, doing a road here, moving them down the road and to try to make it cost effective. So you'll see that in one of these slides here. But here's your estimate. So for 2025, we got a cost of $4.72 per square yard. That is unheard of. It's great. And so we got a lot done for that amount of money, and it was $550,000. So we're estimating for 26 that it's going to be about $900,000 to achieve our goal of the 18 lane miles. And it's going to keep moving as the costs go up towards close to $1 million. So we're really talking, I'm just saying it's around $1 million to be able to do that. That does not include our other maintenance things. We also do crack sealing, and we do patching, and occasionally we do a road restoration, which we did on Hutter a few years ago, actually last year or year before. So, I went backwards. There we go. So here's a geographical colored map, and the yellow is roads we've done in the last 3 years. And you can see it's not a lot there. Most of it's down in one corner. Like I said, we try to do it geographically a little bit. And when you look at projection for 2026, that's the 18 lane miles, and that's in the blue. And that area is kind of unique because that's where we wanted to go this year. But if you all remember that that whole area was kind of a traffic control nightmare because we had a lot of big projects over there. And we just couldn't figure out how to get a project in there and get it done and keep the traffic flowing to the neighborhood while we had everything else going. So that's something we're looking at for next year. And then you can see where we're headed down in 27. We're going to be doing down into the southwest quadrant. And then in 28, we're hoping to go up into the northeast quadrant over there. So that's our projection. You guys have a copy of this slide. It has the streets that we're hoping to hit. Of course, available funding will change this. And then some other project that we're not aware of that could impact the ability to be able to get traffic around the operation could impact. We were hoping we did the roundabout on 4th Street this year. We wanted to do it last year, but we had some other work going on. We had the Hayden Avenue bicycle or sidewalk project going. And to be able to keep the traffic flowing, we couldn't shut that down to do that. So those things make shifts on where we go with this. And this is our future. This is just a bigger drawing of the last map. And you guys have this in your package, so you'll be able to refer to it. They made you that copy. So any questions?
No, I have a comment.
Okay.
Okay, if you go back to your map, there, look in the very south end, middle of the map, that yellow, it's Grouse Meadows.
Right here?
No, down, right there. I have 3 grandkids that live in that subdivision. My son-in-law is a firefighter, so we end up being Uber drivers, my wife and I, for these grandkids, because he's off and on. And I wanted to say that those streets are beautiful, because I drive on them sometimes twice a day. And Grouse Meadows, it's just, they look brand new, and they are so smooth, and it makes the whole subdivision look better. I mean, it's functional, but it looks really nice. And I just want to say that the job that our contractors have done, at least, I know that project, they've done a great job, and I just want to say that, so.
Thank you. Well, I'm sure they appreciate that too, and we'll share that with them as well, so.
Any other comments or questions for Alan?
I have a question.
Yes.
It wasn't too long ago, we got some new equipment, like for the crack sealing and patching. How's that all working out for you
It
guys?
is working great. We're getting, did buy that crack sealing equipment probably, I'm gonna say it's been almost 5 years now. I don't know exactly.
I think you start by the mastic machine as well.
Well, that was last year. And just to go back, right, the crack sealing that the council approved for us a number of years ago, we have used that a lot. It makes a huge difference. We were renting a piece of equipment, trying to get it to work with the weather. You can't do it in certain weather. And so when you're trying to rent something and the weather changes, it's difficult. So that's been great. The Durapatcher, I think that's what it's a mastic that goes down.
Okay.
It's a really durable product. It's different. But it really solves a problem that we have where we have an area that's failing and cracking, and it's not something that's easy to fix. It really is a dig out situation and patch it, right? And this is a simple, quick way of getting it taken care of and expand the life of that. So it's working out good.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, and you guys are doing a great job.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Just to comment on this, I've seen that mastic, that Duramash, whatever it is, in several areas that I drive frequently, and it does appear to be extremely durable. And it almost, I don't know, it's indestructible, but I'm really impressed with it.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Alan, I did have one question myself. I noticed with the chip seal, I was told that we can't really place it on cul-de-sacs. So I know we have a number of cul-de-sacs in Hayden. So what's the
So
plan?
cul-de-sac, cul-de-sacs are our lowest volume roads, right? So they're the ones that probably take the least service and everything else.
Last
So,
100 feet.
Yeah. They're all, to do chip sealing in the cul-de-sac itself is expensive. and it usually doesn't turn out well. And then the traffic in there usually tears it up pretty substantially before it ever gets really hard and set. So typically, we don't do that.
So, right, so what's the repair for that then?
Usually, there's a couple of options. One might be at some point that we go in there and do a thin overlay. We've done that on one or two roundabouts over the last, just in the circle itself over the last 10 years. The other is we go in there, we try to fog them, and it does help seal that asphalt, but it doesn't give it the same durability and life that the chip will. But again, that's the one section that we get the least traffic typically. That's why some people like them. And it's the one place where we have the least impact of traffic on the road. So it's a balancing between the high cost of trying to do that with a chip seal, because it's just, the equipment isn't designed to do a tight circle like that. It's hard to get a nice smooth option out of it, so.
Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
All right, we're going to move to the city administrator report and calendar review.
Okay. I'll hopefully make this brief, but I do have a couple heads up that I think would be helpful for council to hear. Just a couple highlights. I think it's worth noting. We closed on the property from the county on the 19th. So the new facility that we purchased, the buildings from Lakes Highway District, we now own the land, plus that and the land of the south. So,
Right.
excited. And we were able, the goal was to try to get this done in this fiscal year. They really wanted that done, and I'm happy to show that we were able to accommodate that. So that's great. We also closed on the RAD property, which means that, and when we think about the 21 or 22 property owners that we had to acquire for the Ramsey Road project, we went into that construction with 2 property owners that we were still in dispute over land price. We did close on the RAD property, which was the last one, and we've already been refunded by the state for their proportionate, or their contributions. So they've came in, we're able to reallocate money, and we're able to help us close that deal. So that, I think, is a gratitude owed to LTAC and ITD on making that happen.
Is that the thing I mentioned to you?
Different, but similar, yes. October 14th, the city, if you recall, engaged in the Community Health Champions through the Blue Cross of Idaho course. On October 14th, from 9 to 3, Mark Fenton will be here to talk about our built environment and how to address community health at the functional built environment level. So you are all invited to come. He's an incredible speaker. We are working with our other municipalities as well, inviting some of their administrative staff to come. If you do want to come, please let me know, because Blue Cross of Idaho will also be paying for lunch that day, and they would like a head count. So
That'll get all the engineers.
if anything, to get a chance to meet Mark Fenton and to listen to his enthusiasm for functional public realm spaces to increase mobility at the active level, at the foot level, is just, it's incredible to watch him work, and it's unmatched anywhere else in the country that I've seen. So he is the last sort of leg of the Community Health Champions course, and the Blue Cross Foundation is holding 3 different events across the state based on the participating communities, and one of them up north is being held here. So the ribbon cutting for the Ramsey Road Extension Project was this morning, and Councilman Roeder came and spoke on behalf of the city, and as well as I did, and it was a great turnout and a fun event to see us all celebrate in. So I was grateful to see that happen. I think Glenn Miles said it best when I went back and reread some of his comments when we did the, what do we call that? The kickoff meeting, or kickoff? Groundbreaking, thank you. It's hard to call it that because it was frozen. I think it was -6 that day. He said it best. He said, what's exciting about this project is not starting it, but getting it finished. And I think today was a good example of seeing that come to fruition. I was sad he couldn't be there. I just want to give council an update on the contract discussions with the sheriff's office. We're still working through their new kind of structure of how they would like to do their contracts with their communities within the county. because we're nearing the end of the fiscal year and our supplemental agreement of the master agreement expires on October 1st, they have been working with me on trying to get an extension of our existing contract to give us another 2 months. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get that soon and review it and then set a special meeting to consider that. So just if you wouldn't mind getting back to Abby once we have that, some scenarios, we would be grateful to try to get that, at least a supplemental, what they're calling an addendum to extend the contract to give us more time to negotiate a master agreement. That would be great. And then I provided to you, this isn't it. I've been doing this monthly. I gave you one at the last council meeting, but I just feel like because we're getting down to the end of the fiscal year to kind of see how costs, revenues and costs are coming in, it's just good to kind of true this up, I think, as we go forward now. And you'll see staff's trying to project out the end of the fiscal year. We have been doing that for the better part of the last 3 or 4 months. And you can kind of see how things are trailing. We knew that our expenses were going to exceed our revenues this year, primarily because of the enterprise fund, the sewer fund. When we got the revenue to do the H6 improvements the previous year, we're spending that this year. So when you look at the ins and the outs, it looks not as great, but we had that money sitting in our bank to pay for that. So, but either way, we look at general fund is doing well, and we expect to end well. So with that, let me just check my notes here. I would stand for any, oh yeah, I guess one more was if you have been out to Honeysuckle Beach, you'll notice there's a new payment kiosk for taking the boat launch fees, and that was installed. Interesting story about that. We talked about it internally, just replacing the front part of that unit because the screen was no longer functioning. And when we looked at the lifespan of that unit, it was far exceeding its natural lifespan. So it was my call to go ahead and replace the entire unit. And between that time and when we had to replace the unit, it broke down. So I was happy to see that we made that move. So that got brought online within the last 2 weeks. So happy to report that that is a project that is now completed and I believe working well. So with that, I would stand for any questions.
Any questions for Lisa?
Sorry.
We'll go Starboard first.
Yeah, it may be, best for you to ask the question. A number of years ago, we had a lot of delinquent sewer customers, and we had to hire a company to work on collecting those. Do we have any update on how current these folks are? Do we have a lot, the question is, do we have a lot of delinquencies yet? And we were turning those over to the county to then do what they had to do with somehow attaching whatever to their property.
A lien, yeah.
Do you have any update on
I
how?
don't tonight, but I can certainly look into that and get back with you.
Yeah, it's been a number of years since I've even heard.
We do work with Chapman Services to help with some of those. So I just couldn't tell you right now what that looks like,
But,
but I
yeah.
certainly can report back to you later.
Yeah. So that's why I was hoping Jen was gonna be here, but.
Yeah, our revenues, when you look at the 47 pages or 45 pages of that, you can look at how revenues are doing over what we budgeted to give you an inclination of how we're doing in that, but I couldn't get you down to the customer level tonight.
That's okay. Yeah, I just thought if you knew.
Can you send a calendar invite on
Yes,
that community health thing?
Yep.
With a brief description?
yeah, I'll do it right now.
Oh, that's on a city council day.
Yes.
Yeah, you get to spend all day with us if you want to come.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Excuse me, I have one question about the calendar. The Historical Preservation Commission was talking about a joint meeting with the arts. Do we know when that's going to be?
I don't know, we have that down yet, no.
Okay, thank you.
Our next thing is law enforcement report, and unfortunately,
Mr. Mayor, if I could give an update on that, sorry.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
have an update, but I've waited till this point. I did speak with the captain, and we were talking about kind of the cadence of when we were gonna get those reports, and he recognized that they were behind and that he was ready to get us that tonight, but felt that if he could give us till tomorrow to get it to us, he could go through and double check the numbers. And so with that, what I would offer is to email that out and then get it on our website, if you guys are okay with that.
yeah,
Thank you for following up with them. Okay, we're going to move on to mayor, council. Does any council member have a report to make? Tom?
I don't have a report on my assignment with CAMPO, but I wanted to talk about something that was discussed 2 weeks ago, if it's okay with you. So, and I've already told Councilman DePriest about, that I was gonna bring this up, because I want to make sure that he doesn't perceive it as a ding on him.
All right.
So 2 weeks ago, he brought up an article in the Coeur d'Alene Press called, Tale of Two Water Supplies, and it was authored by Emily Fitzgerald of the Idaho Capital Sun. And after you scroll down through it, there was a quote in there that our aquifer was just fine. And that reporter cited Meg Wolf, who is Assistant Director of Idaho Water Resources Research Institute. And so this piqued my interest, and I actually reached out to her and asked her if what they reported in that article was correct, and she said that it was not correct. She was taken out of context. What she clarified for me was that our aquifer is good because of a particular aspect about it, which is called, I wrote all my notes down. It has a much higher hydraulic conductivity, which means that basically water flows through it faster. So if we have a good water source, like snow melt off of the mountains, that when it's drawn down by usage, it recharges quickly. Problem is, our sources of water are not the same as they used to be. And she indicated to me in the conversation we had that this year might have been a turning point, that, and Councilman DePriest actually had heard about this. I didn't until I talked to her, that the Spokane River dried up in one spot just over on our side of the border. And I asked her, I go, is that indicative of the aquifer? And she said, yes, it's a 1-to-1 correlation that aquifer drawdown or lower levels, or that the river level is a 100% proxy for the condition of the aquifer. And so she sounded a little bit alarmed when she talked to me about this. And it could be that we just had a very dry summer, and that's the reason why it happened. But I wanted to bring that up, that what was stated in the Coeur d'Alene Press was factually incorrect.
I'll share with you, as a guy that spends a lot of time on the river, this is the lowest it's been since 2015. So it was a dry year because we had a mild winter. And then second is, I think we're anticipating a rather wet winter this year. So hopefully we'll recharge those batteries.
I hope so. I ski and I want snow.
Mayor, can I follow up with the same topic? I met with Meg Wolf and had coffee with her. She was about that big, pregnant, gonna have a baby in about 2 weeks. She's a real pleasant lady. And I met with her because the question is, what is the carrying capacity of the Rathdrum Prairie aquifer due to development? In other words, can we just, all the cities, can we just infill with residences and totally develop it? And I asked if there's any studies out there that would give us an indication of how much development over an aquifer can handle without depleting it or contaminating it. So water quality and water quantity. And the answer is that every aquifer is unique. The soils, the depths, the recharging of it, it's all unique. But she said that what could be done is that if at the university level is to have a PhD department of a hydrologist that could do a study and look at that answer or that question of what is the carrying capacity. And she said, I said, well, what would that cost? And she said, well, it costs maybe about $600,000 because you have to build data sets out there and determine what's happening. So no one knows. If they do, I want to hear it. What is the carrying capacity? Can we just blanket it with urban blanket and we'll be okay? But I think it's a question we need to be asking to see because of development, we need to know at what point is it too late? Because once we determine it's too late, it's too late. And so Meg is just a great resource, and I appreciated her input, but, and I'm not saying we're going to fund something like that, but I think that we all pay taxes. If you live over the aquifer, you're paying taxes to the county's Aquifer Protection District. And that would be the place that should run or pay for or authorize a study to determine what that capacity is.
Thanks, Matt. Anybody else got anything? Speaking of, the Coeur d'Alene Press, did everybody see the email I sent out on the My Turn article?
Phil Ward's?
Yeah.
I read it.
You read it?
Yep,
You read it,
it's
Sandy?
good.
I perused it.
Perused it. Okay.
Yeah, I read it.
You read it? That was a really good article. All right, any requests for future agenda items?
No request, but I just have a question of staff if possible. Within the last couple of hours, actually, I had a question about city code related to maintenance of large lots that may be overgrown with dry grasses and things like that. Do we have any type of codes or any way to deal with this situation, which could, the dry grass turn into a fire hazard or something like that?
It's an ongoing conversation at staff level.
Yeah, to my knowledge, and I'll hand the mic over to Donna, is that we rely on the nuisance law within Idaho statute, which is a pretty egregious claim that you get to. So weeds sometimes can rise to that, but generally not.
What is the threshold in general if possible?
It's a public health and safety concern, so you have the burden of proof to show that,
What's happening next to you is a threat.
is a threat to your health or safety.
Is
So
it something that the city could go, say somebody go, hey, can you come out and look at this address? And would the city go out and look at it and go, yeah, or who makes that
we
determination?
evaluate that all the time, and we always look at the probability of whether or not it would rise to the level of going to court and whether or not we could get compliance with the landowner. But generally speaking, I mean, like I said, I'll hand it over to you, because I'm jumping into my planner world, and I probably should hand it over to community development.
Well, and we have to be careful because there is an ongoing complaint.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't know that, okay.
The thing that I would caution, get me while I'm chewing candy. The thing that I would caution is that the council wants open space, wants large ag land, and wants, this is what we heard. Okay?
Yeah.
And you're talking a large lot, so the question arises, is this a nuisance like on a residential lot where the grass is maintained around the house, and they've let it grown up to about 18 inches? Or is this a large area in the back that may have been grown up as grass field at some point in the past? And then if it was, and it's always been grass in the past, and it's always been, allowed to grow in the past, and I would agree with Lisa, we can ask them to, water it or mow it or what have you, but trying to enforce that has to be lower than 18 inches mowed down thing is pretty hard.
I know what you're saying, but in particular, this lot that was addressed is in the middle of a residential area.
And then we would go out and look at it and send them a code letter that says you have 2 weeks to mow your property.
And then you get responses like Mr. Hammond's that you all received, so just.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
To answer your question, I have a few things you said. Are there any potential agenda items? I would just like to bring up 3 thoughts for the council to consider, maybe to discuss in the future. One is the county has a wetlands ordinance. And I would like to be able to maybe consider looking at how we can look at theirs to see that ours is similar to theirs, because I believe that they provide more of a protection for wetlands. And I know we don't have much wetlands left now, but just thinking about the future, it would be nice to have a similar ordinance as the county. The other thing is, should we, because there's discussion with the county about allowing data centers to be built in the county, and whether or not the city should be looking at whether we would want a data center to be built in the city due to the fact that it uses an enormous amount of water and it also uses a lot of electricity to run those. So that's another item. And lastly, goes back to the aquifer, because we had the Panhandle Health people here and discussion with DEQ about they would be willing to work with us into maybe strengthening any ordinance we have for protection of the aquifer.
And
So
we have
those-
that one down. It's,
Pardon?
that one I have down already.
Okay, but those are the three that would be nice to maybe look at what the interest is by the council to consider any of those as agenda items.
Didn't we have recently a data center question or proposal or something come before us recently, or was that just in a discussion like this?
It almost made an agenda and it was stricken or taken out.
No, I just brought it up as something I'd like to explore in the future.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say at this point, though, that based on what I heard from staff last meeting, or was it the meeting before? The things like what Councilman Roeder just brought up, these are also important to me, but I'm gonna basically meet with Lisa first and refine my ideas, then go through staff before I bring it to council, so I'm not wasting anybody's time on it, so.
Because what was brought to me a couple of days ago, and apparently it's circulating in the community, that we summarily dismissed. Yeah, that's what I said. I said, I don't know what you're talking about, was my basic response, but apparently it's out there to some degree or another that Hayden recently just out of hand dismissed, yeah, I know. And that was why, when this was brought up, I was thinking, I remember something, but I don't remember.
What did we dismiss?
No,
Sorry.
it was-
A potential data center or something like that, being built in the city of Hayden.
I think it was brought up that you wanted to look at a moratorium, but that,
Yeah,
I don't know,
that
ever
might
went
have been
anywhere. It was just a conversation.
incorporating
It
it
was,
as-
Yeah.
it was in this same section of the agenda under future agenda items.
So Matt, could I ask you to maybe talk to staff, work with staff, refine what
Sure.
you'd like to see come forward and then bring it to council?
Sure, but I don't know what chicken or the egg, or the chicken or the egg, because I just
Yeah.
wanted to see if there was interest in the council in those three items to maybe talk about.
I think that's fair.
And just to elaborate on this a little bit, and I know we want to move on, but a lot of these issues are regional, they're not municipal level.
Yeah.
And they really, the county needs to take the lead on this. And I know Thursday, they're going to have a hearing on data centers. And, you know, we could do everything we want, but we're just one small dot in a big swath of land here, so.
Many of I've done a lot of research on data centers, with the cities I've worked with, and a big purpose of why they choose where they go is based on the infrastructure that's already available to them at the on the electrical grid, because they are like Libby Dam consumption level of electricity, so.
Well, I read this tweet today. Somebody said, if you think Bitcoin is a power suck, wait till they start putting in data centers, so,
Isn't it also based on water source?
yes.
Sometimes, but not always.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is an executive session, and so for those in the public, just as, you want to look at the city like a big business, sometimes businesses need to talk to legal counsel. And, because the item is sensitive and, we can't put it out into the public, I promise you, we're not doing anything sneaky behind the curtains. This is no different than if you had a lawyer and you needed to speak to him. So we're gonna go into executive session. If someone make a motion, this is for, support Idaho Code 74206-1F to communicate with legal counsel for the public agency to discuss the legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation or controversies not yet being litigated but imminently likely to be litigated. So the motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Council President Roeder,
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
Dupree.
All right, so for everyone in the audience, safe drive home. Council will resume at 6:15, please.
Thank you.